The Edinburgh title is Charles's most effective sleeve-up hit back at Harry and Meghan. Hello and a very warm welcome back. What is Harry doing? Is he really trying to sabotage his father's plans for a slimmed-down monarchy? That is the question that's being asked of royal experts in the unmissable royal talk show Palace Confidential. While Harry's decision to give his kids titles might have disrupted King Charles's vision for the royal family, it looks like the king may still have another trick up his sleeve. Just a couple of days after the announcement that came from Meghan and Harry that their kids, Archie and Lilibet, would now be known as Prince and Princess, Buckingham Palace put out an announcement of their very own that Prince Edward would be promoted to the Duke of Edinburgh. So, speaking on the Mail Plus talk show, Daily Mail diary editor Richard Eden said that King Charles could hardly justify not giving his brother the title that he'd been promised by their parents after Meghan and Harry's announcement. Now, a lot of people were saying that the king did not intend to give his brother that title held by their father thanks to his wider plans of trying to slim down the monarchy. Richard explained that there was a lot of toing and throwing with the decision, as Edinburgh is a capital city, and thought that direct royal line would be more. But then when Harry and Meghan started using the Prince and Princess titles for their children, it became clear this wasn't going to happen, and then King Charles could hardly justify not giving Prince Edward the title he'd been promised by their parents, according to Richard. It was a big deal, and I really think that was behind it. But by insisting that the Duke of Edinburgh title is going to go back to the crown when Edward passes away, the king has shown that he's still got an ace up his sleeve when it comes to his sons. Richard Eden continued saying, "I have heard it said that part of the reason is that the king wants to stop Archie inheriting that title, the Duke of Sussex. So this might be part of that. So he has now set that precedent. Now, one thing we need to consider is that as grandchildren of the monarch, their parents have had the opportunity to use those titles of Prince and Princess since the day the late Queen passed away. Now, it's not shocking that Meghan and Harry actually already talked about that decision, and they claimed in the past that they did not want their kids to have titles. Because let's remember, they told anyone who would listen that they just had to escape the royal family. They had to get away from the toxic institution so that their kids could grow up like normal people. But here they are living in a country that doesn't even recognize titles, and these people are using their titles to make money off of people who are just starstruck by their distant connection with the royal family. Well, it looks like they must have had a change of heart, because now they are flaunting their kids' titles all over the media, and we know what the reason for this is. They think it's going to make them some money. They are paving their kids' way to teach them to make money during the course of their lives as they grow up and really not have to do anything for that money. I mean, if Meghan and Harry cannot be equal to Prince William and his family, then I guess they're trying to have their kids sound equal to Prince William's kids. But see, they're never going to get that HRH styling. Also, there are many members of the royal family who chose not to use titles for their kids so that they could grow up as normally as possible. Other people did, and it didn't make much difference as their title stops with them. They can't be handed down. So it seems like the Montecito morons are just setting up their own institution, or trying to anyway, and I'm sure this one's going to be to their liking, and they can add or change rules whatever they want to, because they're just another ordinary family in the USA, right? Maybe with a few more bucks in the bank than most people. Is this going to be the last of their shenanigans? Though I doubted it. They are going to continue to do whatever they can to make life difficult for the royal family, because as long as they're getting money, then why are they going to stop? And I'm sure it was difficult for the late Queen as his grandmother or the King as his father to actually take action against Harry, but Charles needs to think about the monarchy. He needs to think about his wife. I mean, let's remember that Camilla was absolutely trashed by Harry and Spare, and Charles also needs to consider William. He's the heir and he has stayed loyal this entire time. And let's get real about what really happened here. By announcing that their kids had the titles of Prince and Princess, Harry and Meghan were just trying to usurp King Charles's role and protocol, and this decision is not going to look good for them in the near future, because it really only deepened the rift between Meghan and Harry and the rest of the family, and it also only added to the overwhelming public disgust of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Now, If Charles decides to ignore his son Prince William and his wife Camilla, and if he plays as Harry and Harry's wants above them, it's going to be a war between the family. I see the Wessexes and even Andrew will light against Harry. So who knows what's going to happen next. I'm guessing though cooler heads are going to prevail in the end, and I'm sure they're going to come to some type of agreement now with frogs. Charles did show that when he wants to he can have a spine. And Meghan has only one thing that she cares about, that's money. Now, of course, she also wants security. So if Gordon is next in line for her next husband after she and Harry finally get divorced, well, good for her, but I've heard the family put a stop to that. Who knows what's really going on with that whole situation, but some people are saying that Meghan Markle was trying to get Gordon Getty to give her money for some kind of worthless field projects. And honestly, I believe it. If you ask me, one of Meghan's biggest problems is that she believes herself to be a lot more interesting and intelligent than she really is. At the end of the day, she's not interesting at all. She's quite boring, and once you've heard her talk about herself and what she used the word I 57 times in 8 paragraphs. Basically you've already heard it all. There is nothing more inside of Meghan. Meghan is empty. She's a vacuous, empty vessel. Now Harry might have had a couple more books and trying to expose secrets of the royal family, because after all he did live inside the palace, and I'm guessing there are a lot of secrets that he knows. But not Meghan, and the problem is both Meghan and Harry have proven themselves to be liars, to be psychopathic, chronic liars, and so nothing they say can be believed at this. How many books do they believe they can write and have people actually believe that they're getting the truth of what really happens inside the royal family? People are also just getting sick of the two of them. People are bored. They're just a couple of con artists, and each week the interest in them goes down big time, and eventually they're going to disappear into obscurity. And of course they did not get invited to the Oscars, and that is proof again that the two of them are not the global celebrities they wanted to be. I think Meghan made Harry a lot of promises to convince him to move to the US, but it looks like none of her promises have been held up. See, for one, Meghan's a liar. Just about everything she says is ultimately proven to be a lie. Meghan also doesn't have talent. She's not creative. She doesn't have an original thought in that empty head of hers. She's just a person who's not very interesting. I mean, maybe there's one small thing about her. She just so happens to have an association with the British royal family thanks to her marriage to Harry, but we know this is all just hanging by a thread anyway. And Meghan and Harry have been taken down now by so many people. They have been the butt of jokes all around the world, and I think that South Park episode did a lot to wake everybody up to what those two really are now. They have been publicly identified and derided as completely irrelevant. I know that had to hurt. We know Meghan Markle cannot laugh at herself, and they're also polls showing they are the least like royals, and now they're enjoying some very negative ratings. So it's difficult to see from where the next paychecks are going to be coming, considering that their present commitments have already been fulfilled and completed. Their future is looking very bleak indeed. It looks like the lies of the Montessori malcontents are finally catching up with them. So maybe they need to stop what they've been doing, and maybe they need to take some time to think about their next move, and I'm sure there's a lot of anxiety right now, considering that they're untalented. When we add up their talents and skills between the two of them, we get absolutely